Ladies and gentlemen, we are so excited, and today, like we promised last week, we have a lot in store. We are starting our giveaway session today, so karibuni sana. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this evening. This webinar is brought to you by Atara Solutions. My name is Grace Nzula, and I'll be your moderator. Allow me to give you a quick backstory. I am the lead consultant for Atara Solutions, which is an HR consulting, strategy, and capacity building firm. We provide total HR solutions and equip employees to grow both personally and at the organization. We seek to educate entrepreneurs and employees for better Kenya. For more details, please visit our website or send us an email at info@atarasolutions.co.ke. Get It Right with Atara Solutions is a platform that seeks to demystify issues in entrepreneurship and employment. We do this in partnership with the Lego Academy, which is a software development and capacity building academy. I hope you have been registering for their November intake. In case you haven't, kindly note that if you are looking to polish your IT skills or develop some softwares for your organization, or just learn how to do website among all ICT skills that you may need, they have a November intake. Kindly visit their website or their social media pages to catch up. You can also get in touch with Eric on eric@zalego.co.ke. Yes, this is October and it's my birthday month. And we have decided to make it count for more than just myself. And that is why we have a lot of giveaways for you, our audience. We have partnered with different organizations to help us celebrate this great milestone. Some of the organizations we have partnered with are Shishi Naturals, who are producers of natural oils, Serenity Studios, who do photography and videography. They are introducing their mommy packages for expectant moms. And I need to point out that they also bring you the wardrobe for your photography, so you don't have to really go shopping. We have Career Management Center, who are offering interview coaching and profile upgrades for you, our audience. We also have Good Fortune Greens, who are in Nanyuki. So all our Nanyuki audience, you have a package from Good Fortune Greens, who are green groceries. You will get your pack of fruits and vegetables, etc., etc. We also have Surreal Laundry, who they offer laundry services. You can actually get your duvets and whatever clothes cleaned and on the same day. They are actually based in Ruaka. Among others, we have Tunu's Kitchen, who will actually have a gift pack for you. We have JC, who are dealing with beauty products. We have so much in store for you. Oh my God, this month, you guys are so lucky. So this is our 17th webinar. We started with how to register your business legally. And last week we were discussing family-owned businesses, family, not familiarity. If you missed any of our webinars, please visit the Atara Solutions YouTube channel to catch up. And while at it, kindly subscribe. Next week, we shall be addressing another very interesting topic, which is on financial planning. We know COVID left us dry, but all is not lost. So how do we make do with what we have? As always, let me remind you why Get It Right with Atara Solutions started in the first place. Did you know that 22% of businesses fail in their first year? That's to mean all the businesses that started on January of 2020 will not see December of 2020. 30% will not see December of 2021. 50%, as in half of the businesses that began in January, will actually not make it to the 5th year. That is when 2025. And then 70% will not see their 10th anniversary. And this is saddening. And that's why we are holding these discussions, because the numbers have to change. I am honored and privileged to introduce our speaker today. He is called Mr. Thomas Muriuki. He is the business development manager and director at Mau West Company Limited. What a lot of you don't know about him is that he actually cooks chicken in coconuts very well. We invite you, our audience, to ask questions, and we will try and answer them as many as possible. Yes, I said that today we have giveaways, so probably about 3 of you will walk away with something, so keep it locked to know how you can be a winner. So according to a survey done in 2018 by PwC on family businesses, only 17% of local businesses have actually formalized a succession planning in place. As in, most of them don't even know whether they want their children or their brothers and sisters or anything like that close to their businesses. They don't have a plan yet. So imagine, Tom.
Yes.
You are defying all odds. You know, most of the businesses in Kenya, most family businesses in Kenya are actually started by Indians. They are the ones who have mastered this trade.
Yes,
So how
very
is
true.
it for you? And I welcome you to introduce yourself and the company, and then take us through the myths and the maths of family-owned businesses.
Thank you again, Grace. It's an honor and a pleasure. And I commend you for what you're doing. These seminars are really educating and also entertaining us at the same time. So once again, I am Tom Morioki. I'm a business development manager at a company called Mau West Company. Uh, we're in the construction industry. So we are what we call specialists. So we deal with any waterproofing or industrial flooring solutions. So that means that our target market is mainly, professionals in the building industry and real estate as well. So we are a kind of a niche company. So I could understand why most people have never heard of us. And that's what we do. The company has been in existence for the last almost 30 years. It was started by my parents, and now we are second generation running it. So that's what, in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Take us through the myths and the maths.
Okay. Now, to start with, maybe I might start by defining what a family business is.
Mm-hmm.
And a family business is any business or enterprise that is influenced mainly by the family. So it doesn't mean that a family business owns 100% of the business. As long as the family owns 50 plus one shares of the business, it is regarded as a family business. And the reason why we consider or we classify them as a family business other than other kind of businesses is that mainly the family influences the direction and the management of the business at large. So, as you said before, it's very true that the Kenyan Wahindis that are there, they're the ones who have almost, I don't want to say perfected, but we've learned a lot from them. And maybe some of the truths that exist and are quite shocking is family businesses, particularly in Kenya, they contribute up to 75% of Kenya's GDP. So that means basically almost every family is a family business, whether you know it or not. The other truth is that if you look at a global scale, family businesses tend to perform better than other non-family businesses. And the reason for that is because family businesses are usually, they have a stronger foundation and they put values over profitability. So operational excellence is usually one of their key things that they try doing. And if you look at, some could be publicly traded. If you look at the New York Exchange, you notice that over half of the businesses they are traded publicly are actually family businesses, but they never, of course, shout about it. Those are the few truths. The myths that are there, of course, you've heard is such as, they never go beyond 2 generations. I think that's a myth. There's a particular business I like following, and maybe you've heard about it. Uh, Kingsway Tires, if you know the company. It's run by a guy called Dr. Munoj Shah. I think he's third of third and this fourth generation incoming. And of course, the other businesses which are proving that they can actually last generation to generation. So that's one of the few myths that surround. And also another myth is that women cannot run the family businesses. Most of them, if you study them, you find mostly it's the sons running them, but it doesn't mean that women cannot run them. They of course can. So those are the few truths and myths that surround the business.
Tom,
Yes.
what are the facts in terms of numbers?
What kind of facts, such as?
So you said most businesses don't go beyond. Okay, there's a myth that a lot of businesses don't go beyond the second generation. Why do you think why is it the case?
Uh, yeah, it's a myth, but I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It's actually very difficult. That's why they don't go beyond, 2 or 3 generations. But I think the biggest factor is usually setting that solid foundation, both for the family and the business.
Yeah.
Another issue, of course, is building a succession plan. When people talk about succession, they always focus on the incoming team, the younger generation. What they tend to forget is succession is two-way.
Yes.
The existing leadership has to plan how to exit. Okay? You can't just come and remove someone who has been working there for 50 years and tell them, now it's your time to retire. It's my it's my time now to run the business. No,
Yeah.
it's usually both. And a lot of emphasis is placed on the incoming generation, and less emphasis is placed on the outgoing. And it's the reason why maybe most Kenyan, or if I say African businesses, they never last. But it's because the founder is used to a certain lifestyle, certain way of life. So nobody has ever, coached him on what to do next out of this business. So that's why you find most of them, they never last because the founder dies with the business.
Yeah.
There's no plan. They don't want to let go. They have, they don't trust the incoming team. There's no coaching and mentorship involved, and all that. So I think that's the biggest headache, because then again, succession planning is not something that is done in days. It's something that can take even 10 years.
Yeah.
That's also another thing that people don't realize. So it's not something that you think now and you start next week. No, it's something that you have to plan, deliver way much in advance, and start practicing slowly by slowly, both for the outgoing and for the incoming.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, question: how did it work out for you?
Very interesting. I didn't plan to be in the business, if I must be honest. Initially, I used to come and work in the business during the long holiday breaks when I was in campus. We used to have almost 4-month holiday breaks. So in between the breaks, my parents will urge me, you can't just stay at home for the 4 weeks. And at that time, I didn't have any internship opportunities. So I used to go there and work, get some little money, like that. So after graduation, I used to actually come to the office. And while I was job hunting, I used to use the office resources to job hunt. So I'll use the internet access, because at that time at home, we didn't have internet access. So I would come, apply jobs via email, send out letters, and all that. So that's how I started joining. I mean, that's how I started coming to the office.
Mhm.
Then slowly by slowly, I started being given tasks, do this, do that. It was more or less informal.
Mhm.
So after some time, I realized I've been working here informally for almost over 6 months,
Mhm.
you know. So officially, I was now employed in 2011. That's when my official letter was crafted. But before then, it was something very informal. So I can say I've been in the business for almost 10 years, but
Mhm.
informally, of course, I've been there longer than that. So that's why I joined. Then I trained, I learned how the industry works, because again, it's not my background. My background is IT. So, but the good thing is uh, at Mawes, I'm surrounded with a very intelligent and professional team who have coached me, they have trained me. So to the point of, you almost now understanding everything, how it works. So it was a slow and gradual process along the way.
Okay.
Yes, and that's how I got to join the business.
So how did you decide that, okay, fine, I'm gonna join this business? And did your dad just say, fine, come and do this? Or your
Uh,
mother?
uh, the good thing is my parents gave me the freedom to choose. And that's how they've raised us. Nobody is forced to do anything. And I think that's a blessing. For me, I chose it because I talked to several mentors. I talked to several key people in my life about that decision because I was very unsure. I was very unsure. I was looking at the IT landscape and I could see it's growing, there's demand. So, and most of them, they kept on telling me, just join the business. In this world, all businesses are almost the same.
Mhm.
So if you have a business and of course you've gone to school, you can actually, your input will be very beneficial. So I just trusted them because at that point I was not very sure about my decision.
Mhm.
So because I didn't want to regret that decision. But after talking to several people, they all told me to join, and I was like, okay, let me trust their opinion
Mhm.
because they are a bit older and wiser than me. So, and I can say it was a good decision for that, and I never looked back ever since. So I just made a decision right there and then that I'll commit myself.
Okay.
Yes.
So we cannot talk about family-owned businesses without talking emotions.
Yes.
And I wanted to know from you, because one of the myths that we have on family-owned businesses is that conflict at work is just about work. We all know that sometimes you fight at work and it's still taken home. So how do you manage this?
Um, when you set up a family business, uh, one of the key things as a founder or as a director you're supposed to do is come up with something we call a family constitution and a family council. And the reason why we do that is because you want both the family and the business to run as smoothly as possible. If one doesn't, if one sort of doesn't go smoothly, it affects the other. So that's why it's actually harder to run family businesses because you have to deal with members from the family and also now other people as well. So one of the key things in having that is the family constitution now governs what is to be done. The same way we have the constitution in our country. That's the first thing that we did. We created that, and most big and established family businesses actually have that kind of a constitution because if there's no constitution, everybody will do whatever they want. So the
Mhm.
constitution, it has laws. It governs how conflict will be resolved. It talks about how to employ people, how to fire people. Basically, just policies and laws that as a family should follow. And the other thing is our family council, more or less like a family structure, the same way we have a company structure. who heads the family, who makes the decisions about the business, who's at the board, who takes care of the other things that the family is involved in, and all that stuff. So if you don't set up that in a formal way, uh, conflicts, of course, and issues will arise. And it doesn't mean that because you form a constitution, there will be no conflicts. No. The whole point is you're trying to reduce the conflicts. That's number one. Number two, when there are conflicts, there's a process. There's a way on how you handle it. Okay. So the same way you have, processes and policies in a company, like now for you, I know you're a HR, you can't just fire anyone abruptly because they came late. Of course, there's a process to that.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a process to hiring. So it's almost a similar nature. So the family also has a similar structure. Who's reporting to who does what, and all that stuff. And of course, there are checks and balances to that.
Okay. Now, what
Yes.
happens to the people in the family who don't want to join the business?
Uh, uh, One of the key things when you form the constitution is who is working there and who is not, and or who will not work there.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the key things to consider is in a family setup, you are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to encourage a lot of communication. Just
Yes.
because a family member does not want to work in the business, it does not mean he doesn't want to be productive or
Yes.
contribute to the society. So what happens is the member himself or herself is supposed to speak out and
Mm-hmm.
say, my interests are not aligned with your interests. I actually want to be employed by so and so, or I've got an opportunity to work at a certain place, or I
Mm-hmm.
want to pursue a certain business interest. So, in the case of a business interest,
Mm-hmm.
most families, businesses, what they do is uh, they set aside funds, and this is also discussed about in the family constitution. What
Mm-hmm.
happens if someone wants to do something else? Maybe start a garage or something.
Yeah.
So as long as the reasons and the market research has been done, one of the key things is just to support that member through financial and moral support, and see that the the business or the idea grows. And actually, most people encourage that because it helps in diversification. If you look at these big established businesses, you notice that they have really diversified, and the key idea starts from maybe a family member. They just communicate and say, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm looking for, these are the opportunities that I'm seeing, and that is where my decision lies. So it's upon now the broader family just to discuss about it. They might refuse at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. It does not mean that they have to be supported. The idea could be wrong, or it could be something that won't work. So it's upon the family just to discuss and see whether it makes sense. And if it makes sense, then uh, commit resources to the idea. But
No,
of
my.
course, the person with the idea has now to steer that business. That's the only maybe condition that maybe they should be, they should know.
The vision holders,
Yes,
they should be allowed to lead the vision
they should be
with the
allowed to
support
lead
of the others.
with
Yes.
with the support. Yes, because they can't do it alone.
Yeah, of
They
course.
can't do it alone. Yes.
So who decides who becomes CEO, who becomes CFO, and how is your pay determined?
Uh, One thing with family businesses is we try to run them professionally, just like corporates.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at how corporates, pay people, they can take, market rates and see, how are people at this position paid. So we use the same principles because we want
Mm-hmm.
to be as transparent as possible. Remember, we are trying to be excellent and also, you know, uh, to be people of value. So one of the key things is we just look at if it's maybe something like pay, we
Mm-hmm.
might look at what are the market rates for, just call a professional. That's let me maybe that's one thing that also I forgot to mention. Family businesses, especially when they are small, they never hire professionals. So they tend to think they know everything. And the truth is, you can never know everything. So if it's something like pay, you may find that, you are paying according to how you feel, you know. But the truth is, these are things that if you engage professionals, they can easily assist you in making such decisions. What was
Okay.
the other question?
Who determines who become what role someone plays? And actually, I've seen someone from our audience who is asking about, do you consider people's expertise when you're giving them specific roles, or do you become a CFO just because you are a Morioki?
That's a good question.
Yes.
Now, as I mentioned before, in the family constitution, uh, things about hiring are also discussed. And of course, as I said, you're trying to run it as professional as possible. So what that means is you're employed by the basis of you actually deserve that job, not because you're a sibling or you're a son or a daughter to the founder. So the family constitution guides. If you are, if let's say you're supposed to be a CFO, what are the responsibilities of a CFO and what are the qualities? So if the qualities say that you need, a master's in finance, experience in working in other companies in a similar position, then that's what we will do. So if you don't have those qualifications, automatically you don't qualify. And because the family constitution is shared among all the members, even you yourself, nobody will tell you that you don't qualify. You've already seen, and you've noticed that you don't qualify. So it's not something that is hidden. It's something very transparent. And remember, we do this so that the business can last, can see generations
Sustainability.
after generations. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Now, the other thing was,
Mhm.
okay, you talked about succession. What if, for example, your sons or daughters don't want to join the business that your father started?
Uh, it's still okay. As
So
I
how do
said,
you handle all that?
there's no, let me be honest with you, Grace. There's no straight answer. I know I have friends who own businesses and they are that stage whereby they are alone in
Mm-hmm.
terms of running the business. And I think the best thing for me will be to consult, because remember, families are very dynamic, just like businesses. So the way I will do it will be very different from the way you or anyone else will do it. So for me, for instance, if I have a business and none of my kids are interested in running it, it depends with me. What do I want with the business? Do I want it to be a legacy? Because also I have the option of also selling it. Okay.
But that's
Actually,
not
business.
serious from the sustainability part.
Actually, I've seen Kenyan businesses. It's just that they are never reported, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of businesses are sold here in Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
Journalists never cover that. I don't know why. And it's
Mm-hmm.
the same reason, because now you're nearing retirement age. You've consulted with various experts. What's the way forward? Others uh, uh, form trusts
Mm-hmm.
that now govern and run the business.
Yes.
Others sell. So it will depend on the person himself. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe the only thing I would say is it's good to surround yourself with the right kind of people who can advise, and they are there.
Mm-hmm.
Because now when you sit down with someone who's very knowledgeable with this area, it can even be clear on the direction that you want the business. Others want their business to go public. So the direction that they will take, it's
Mm-hmm.
very different from someone who wants just a business that will, feed his people. And so it depends on the vision of the person. Yes,
Yeah.
and the purpose.
And
Yes.
we had a question on someone who asked, who
Mhm.
actually signs the family constitution?
Oh, that's a good one. I should have mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is, one, the family constitution is a living document. What that means is it's not set in stone. It is
Mm-hmm.
something that is reviewed, could be reviewed annually, could be reviewed twice a year. Depends on how big the business is or how big the family is.
Mm-hmm.
So just like the same way we all constitutions are created, it's a matter of voting. So it's created by a professional who creates, and there are people who do this on a daily basis. That's their line. They create the constitution. Of course, they have to study your family first. So it's something that also takes time to create because not all of them are the same. As I
Mm-hmm.
said, families are very dynamic. So the person that you engage has to study your business first, also has to study your family, and has to study what the owner wants. Okay. What is
Mm-hmm.
the purpose? What's the vision? Sometimes businesses are created and the people working there don't know what the vision is. They're just there because maybe they didn't have a choice. So sometimes it's also good to, as I said, communication is the most critical element. Everything should be said. So, so, so once the constitution is created, what happens is everyone goes through it. So you make your comments, you discuss about it, you review it again. So it could take a long time actually to formalize one, but that's actually how it goes. And then if it's something that some people are agreeing, others are disagreeing, usually you just vote. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Like one of the key, I'll give you an example. One of the key issues in most family constitutions is how do we hire family members? And before we created ours, it was solely based on the founder, on our parents, the way they feel. But now, because we have a constitution, it governs on how it should be. People should be employed. Like now, I'll give you an example of how ours we created. Ours, we said you need to have experience outside, not less than 5 years. So some people agreed, some people disagreed. So of course we voted and it was passed. So, and we live by that now. So if you don't want that, that's your own problem now.
Okay, because that was my next question. Do you believe that someone needs to actually work in other companies before joining the family business?
It depends. Also, it's not a straight answer. It depends on the business. If the business is small or medium sized, there are certain stages in a business whereby it will be of more value if the person works outside first. Okay. There are certain businesses whereby they can absorb you at whatever level you are in. Okay, so it will depend on the business. And then again, for those businesses, of course, you will notice that their constitution might be slightly different. Some other constitutions say if you are to join, anyone can join, but you have to start at the lowest level, regardless of your qualifications or your education level or your age. As long as you join the business, you have to start, at a certain level, then come up. Others, you have to work outside. Like now for ours, you have to work outside first, not less than 5 years. Of course, you are supposed to have gone to school, diploma, minimum diploma level, such kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it will also depend on company to company and family
Okay.
to family. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I am of the school of working somewhere else, but that is my personal opinion and it cannot be used against me or for me. And now that we're in the spirit of constitutions and processes, and I'm sure our audience is asking, how do we win these giveaways? So the first thing that we're going to do is award the person who registered for this webinar first. And we're going to get to that. The other person, we are going to let you know how. But the first gift will go to the person who actually registered for this webinar first. We appreciate you and we appreciate your quick response. So meanwhile, as we go along, I'm going to take a few questions from the audience. Jack is asking, why is it that family-owned businesses shy away from listing in stock exchange? And I think this has been asked before. So why do people shy away?
Uh, I don't think it's shying away. Uh, I think it's a matter of the direction that the founders or the family want the business to go. As I said, if you look at other countries, like let me just use the New York Stock Exchange, half of those businesses there are family owned. So it's not a matter of shying away. It's just a matter of where at which stage is the business. Does the family want it to be public? other families actually never want their businesses to be public.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a decision that, the stakeholders respect. Because maybe they feel if they go public, they might lose control. They might lose some values. They might, put profitability before operational excellence. So, as I said before, it will depend on family to family. So the best thing is just to be honest with yourselves and just ask yourselves: do we need to go public? And these are the reasons why we should go. These are the reasons why we shouldn't. And it's just an open discussion.
Mm.
The only key thing I might say is what brings issues in family businesses, and this has happened all over the world, is the lack of learned communication. So you find out that people are going for a family meeting, and or rather, or you buy the paper and you see your financials, you know, they've been publicized. So you wonder how come all of a sudden our financials are made public.
Yeah.
And it's because maybe it wasn't communicated to you. So I think what is key is just the open communication, and that's why family businesses are usually encouraged to have a lot of not a lot, but to have things we call family retreats.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is this kind of avenue sometimes they provide a very nice channel for such kind of open communication. When you're on a retreat, sometimes it's easier to discuss issues
Yeah.
regarding the family and regarding the business. And also, it's a nice way to also generate new ideas. It could be in an industry where it's dying slowly.
Mm.
Yeah. So these are the kind of things that people are encouraged to do. So remember, when you do this, what you're basically doing, you're just trying to unite the family, make them one. And I think that's the ultimate goal, so that whichever decision you make, even if you don't agree with it, you still support it.
Okay. Last
Yes.
week
So,
when we finished the webinar,
mhm.
one of my friends told me he can never work for a family-owned business because, us HRs, we have a problem. We make policies that beautify shelves, and families also make constitutions that beautify shelves. So how do we make it a live document? How do we make sure that it works?
It's a very good question. Um, I think implementation is also the other key thing. Um, Remember when I mentioned about the family council?
Mhm.
Um, One of the key things is if you make such a document, for instance, and there are certain implementations to be made. Uh, if you're unable to do them, maybe because there are emotions involved, you can as well as leave that task to someone else. I have seen families. I have relatives who run also. They have big businesses, and what I've seen them doing is they don't make themselves the CEO. Either they make themselves, they hire someone they report to, or they hire a board where they report to. So they don't make themselves the sole decision maker. And the sole
Mhm.
reason is you are just want to be transparent and as objective as possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So maybe that's
Okay.
one key trick that people can use.
And before we run away from the constitution,
Mm.
John is asking, what are the key foundation blocks to your specific family constitution?
Uh, that's a bit private, but because remember, the constitution is not formed in a day. So even having even that discovering what are the solid foundation blocks is also a discovery journey, because most people never know what our foundation, what are the key pillars, what are our values, and all that. So it's more or less, and that's why it makes sense just to just get a professional consultant to take you through this process, because most people never have an idea of where to start. But it's always good just to consult someone. They will take you through everything. The same way, when you start a business, you never know everything. But if you arm yourself with the right people, of course, you'll never be lost. So my answer to that is there are people who do that. I'm happy to give referrals of people who give, they set you up, they give those solid foundations, both for the family and also for the business as well.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we have a repeat question from Yvonne and from an anonymous attendee who are asking, does your constitution talk about disciplining a family member who has violated a business rule? The anonymous attendee is asking, how do you discipline family members who are a nuisance and problematic?
You fire them.
How do you fire them then? Because feelings can you can be disbarred from, banned from going for family reunions,
That happens, and it's one of the hard things to do when we're now working in a family business. Remember, as I said, if I worked for a corporate, let's say, let me take example, Equity, and I start misbehaving, what will they do? Of course, they'll try discipline me, give me warnings, and if all else fails, I'll be shown the door. So it's the same process because we are trying to be as professional as possible. Remember, one of the key things I realized is if you don't professionalize your business, just hiring, cousins, brothers and sisters, uh, if you don't go the professional way, you might start losing uh, uh, stakeholders. Uh, People like banks, for instance, they will look at your board. They will look how you guys run your business. And if they notice it's not as transparent as possible, they might shy away from partnering with you. Same case with customers as well. And any other stakeholder that is involved in your business. And remember, we do this for the greater good of the company, not the individual. Equity will fire me because they know my actions might ruin the reputation of that company. So it's the same way. Who are we putting first? Are we putting the individual first or the company first? So if the company comes first, then everybody has to adhere to the rules and policies. If not, then there's of course now disciplinary actions to be taken, which will be determined by people in the business and all that. So it's no different than any other business.
Okay.
I see people, trying to soothe their siblings, try to do this, which I think it's wrong. If someone doesn't want to work or is beyond help, just seek other alternatives to help him, but always put the company first. Because remember, if the company dies, that sibling that you're soothing will not have a job. So you see, you'd rather put the company first.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And another anonymous attendee is asking, how does one maintain decorum when majority vote against something that backfires and then they insist on the minority fixing their mistakes?
Just come again.
How does one maintain decorum when majority vote against something that backfires and then they insist on the minority fixing their mistakes? For example, you go and vote, 5 people in the family, whatever, are for this idea. And then the one person who is opposing is obviously ruled against. And then this thing backfires. And this person who had a better idea, who was never listened to, is asked to fix.
I think Kenyans fear making mistakes, and maybe that's why somebody will ask, they'll want to do research on something and ask so many people. Mistakes can never be avoided. That's number one. Of course, if you make 10 decisions, there are those decisions that of course will backfire. But if 7 work for you, you see you're still moving forward. So it's a matter of trust. If I have an idea and everyone disagrees with it, it's okay. I will trust them. And if it backfires, there are no emotions to it. You can't just come and say, you see, I told you so. This won't work, or this will work, and this is where we are. So I think as long as the unity is there, most of these issues come when there's no unity. So when there's no unity, you're always looking for the wrong in someone. You're never looking for the right. You're always looking for the mistakes, not looking for the opportunities. So, and that's why having the solid foundation first really matters a lot, because when you dig deep into these issues that you see, business is suffering, it's because of these. There's no unity in the family. There are always fights here and there. The family is never doesn't have a solid foundation. So if it doesn't have a solid foundation, nothing can run basically, even if the idea that they're proposing is good.
Okay. And before we continue, we have giveaways this evening. The person who registered for this webinar first, the number one person to register for this webinar will get a chance to win something. And then the second person who will win a giveaway tonight is the person who is will be the first one to write. Do I say the question now? Yes, it's 8:47. Now, our audience, what were our first 5 topics of discussion and who were the speakers? I repeat, what were the 5 topics of discussion and who were the speakers? The person who gets it correct first will actually get a chance to get a present. It's my birthday month and hoo-hoo. Moving on. And Antoinette is making a contribution and she says, in my opinion, family values play a big part in forming the foundation for the Constitution. Values governing the way family does business, establishing what the family stands for. This often gives direction on decisions made and why things are done the way they are. I think that's a contribution, and I felt it was very, very important to read it out. Now, on the next question for you, Mr. Tom, why is it, no, before I get there, Jackie is asking, hi, I have worked for a family-owned business and I felt that the family members were favored and quality decision-making was compromised. Thus, non-family members hold back their thoughts because they believe their contribution may not count. I also felt it was difficult to attract and maintain and retain skilled human capital. Do you find these challenges and how do you address them?
Yes, these challenges, they occur, they are there. And maybe I forgot to mention this, but one of the key things that you can do as a family business so that now, non-family members can also feel appreciated is having board members that are non-family members. That's also another key thing maybe that I forgot to mention, because it brings out that kind of transparency, because you need someone who has, higher decision powers and also is also a non-family member. So that's one of the key ways that most family businesses can do, because most of them, you find the board is still the family. So they are meeting at the dinner table every day, discussing about business, how it's going. So I think, as I said before, you just try to professionalize the business from the leadership level going downwards. And I think if you have non-family members on part of the board, as long as they are professionals in the area that you think is very key, that issue is usually solved very well. Yes. Okay. So I can say maybe it starts from the leadership. You should have leadership that are, non-family, so that in case you don't feel like this guy can listen to you, at least you have someone else that you can talk to.
Okay. And then Solomon, oh my God, my professor, you're here. Karibu sana. Solomon Gashewa is asking, why is it that family businesses that have opened themselves up have actually been successful? Open for attraction of capital. Probably it's opening to non-members as directors.
Again, depends on the direction that the business wants to take. One of the key things to growth for family businesses has always been strategic partnerships. You find that when there's that strategic partnership, you find that people are willing to invest as long as you guys, both partners, share the vision and there's trust between the two entities. I think it creates a very big, it creates very good avenues for growth. So I can say strategic partnerships is also another key thing that people should look into. The homework is in finding the right partner, because remember, you have to share the same vision and there has to be trust. So if those two key things are not there, that partnership won't work. But where it works, it works wonders. And
Okay.
maybe that's what other businesses which have had equity or being funded. I think that's what they've done.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is very, very enlightening. And before we take the next question, my people, what were the first 5 webinars on Get It Right with the Tara Solutions? What were, and I can give you a hint. You know where to find these topics. They're somewhere within your reach. What are the 5 topics of discussion from Get It Right with the Tara Solutions? And we said the very first person to register for this webinar will actually get a getaway from a giveaway from Career Management Center. These are career coaches, career interview coaches. They actually help you prepare for the job and get ready and find you jobs. They recruit. They actually provide total HR solutions, and they are willing to work with you. So the first person to register for this webinar gets a gift from Career Management Center. The second gift is going to the person who actually names the 5 topics we discussed at the beginning of Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. Now back to you, Mr. Tom. Yvonne is saying, talking of discussing business issues over dinner, how do you ensure work-life balance? I can imagine for family, we tend to carry work along past working hours home.
Just have ground rules. I have seen families who have, very good ground rules. No watching TV past a certain time, no phones. Just have those similar kind of ground rules, both for the family and also for work. So now, when you're at work, there is no, you're not bringing family issues, and when it's time for family, you're not bringing work issues. So it's a matter of just setting up a ground, because these things never, people assume maybe they happen automatically. They never happen automatically. It's something that you plan and you start acting upon it.
Mm-hmm.
So just have, and you could have it as part of your constitution. No discussion of work issues when it's family time, and when it's work time, no discussion of family issues. Things like that. People who carry such stuff home is because they haven't set up those kind of ground rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Excellent. So in summary, you're saying it's value over family, values define the
Yes.
family structures.
Yes. Define the values first. What are your
Mm-hmm.
values?
Yes.
And then have a structure both for the business and also for the family. Now the structure comes with the family council and the family constitution. But just professionalize the business. I think that's the biggest hurdle. Professionalize the business, have systems and structures, just like any other, business. Have a succession plan. Things like that. These are things that it's not that it's people have never heard of it. It's just that people never really implement them. As you said, you create policies, they are just put on the shelf. So I think, and if you're a business and you're having it hard time to implement some things, then just get a professional to do it. I think that's one of the key things also. I think when people start out businesses, maybe as a family business,
Mm-hmm.
they don't think about systems and structures from the word go.
Yeah.
So they think systems and structures are for, big businesses and big companies. But I think even if you're a one-man business, you start creating those systems and structures in place. Having
Okay.
professional, you talk to some people, you're telling them, do you have a consultant for this? They ask you for what? Or I don't have the money for that. And if you look at how much they are losing, they bet they'll be saving if they get a professional consultant. Just professionalize from the word go. It makes it easy from
Okay.
the ground up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the sound of the constitution. I think I've participated in making of one. So I love what a family constitution does. And I know we have a lot of people who are taking this as takeaway. But on my last question, before we start giving the presents, it's October. Okay, I have a friend of mine who runs an engineering firm, and he wonders whether any of his children will actually join the firm because they are not engineers. So how do you make okay, for example, I'm an HR. If I want my children to come and join the business and none of them is an HR practitioner, do you think they still stand a chance?
What are the what is the vision of your company? I think that's where we start. What's the purpose of the company? If you want it to grow and if you want it to have a legacy, it's not a must the children work there if they have no interest in it. So as I said before, for such issues, it's usually very good to humble yourself and just talk to, there are consultants who deal with such kind of issues, and they can tell you the best direction to go. As I told you, there are several businesses which get sold, and most of them actually they face a similar problem.
Yeah.
And it's never bad. People think selling a business is like selling your soul. A business is it's an asset, just like a car. So I don't know why people sometimes have that emotional connection to a business. So sometimes if all else fails, who said it's wrong to sell? Actually, selling a business could even be a better idea, because maybe the people who are buying it have better plans and better processes for it. So I think it's something that has to have a very long. It's an ongoing conversation, if I may start from there, and also these are conversations that you start when your children are young, not when they have 40 years and you're telling them now I want to retire. Who will run this business? I think that's the wrong approach, because that means there has been no communication in that family for a very long time. And that's why I insisted communication has to be very key. Whether there is a business or not, family members have to be always communicating. Any issues have to be solved. Nothing should be left untouched. So I think by to answer that question, I think these are conversations you should start very early, not when people have set up their lives and you're coming to run as the last minute because you haven't, you're also stuck. So I think these are conversations that should be, should start early. And if they don't start early, just get the consultants and they will tell you what to do. Of course, there are very options that you can take. Yes. But as I said, it depends on you and the business. What's the vision of the company?
Yes.
I think it starts from there.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes. You have really, this one, I think this is a comfortable space for you. And Mutembe Gilbert is asking for your contacts. I think maybe you can just probably put a summary of our discussion today, just a summary attached with your company profile, and then we can share out to everyone who registered for this webinar today.
Okay. I'll do that. Yeah.
And then before we read out the winners of today's giveaways, who by a show of hand, and you can raise your hand, it is actually there. Let me raise mine on the screen. Who wants interview coaching? The very first person to raise your hand, you'll actually get a chance to sit with Jen Mutisia, who will actually take you through a 3-hour session on interview coaching. And this doesn't get better, honestly. It doesn't. All right. All right. So the first winner of our webinar today is none other than Anthony Okore. Anthony Okore, you are the winner of a LinkedIn profile upgrade and your personal profile makeover from Career Management Center. By the way, these guys are very good. We work together and I can vouch for them. So you are one very lucky human. Ask Thomas about profiles. He will tell you the story into developing one. So Jen Mutisia will take you through upgrading, will actually help you upgrade your LinkedIn profile and actually your personal profile. And thank you very much, Career Management Center, for this awesome gift. And then our second winner will be, Eric, who is our second winner now? Who got it right? I'm seeing people pointing out at the point they started joining us. I think the one who got it right is actually Donna Karaoke. Donna got the sequence correct. Our first webinar was on legal requirements of starting a business. Oh dear, you do not have the people who spoke. You got the topics right, but you did not get the speakers correct. Let me see who else is there. This is interesting. And please raise your hand if you want interview coaching. If you're looking for a job and you're wondering why you don't get the jobs, please raise your hand. Someone is offering you free coaching for your next interview. Who got it right? The Lego Academy? No. Who is the closest? Sorry, is it check? Posa, nice try, but I think you mixed them up. You also missed out on the speakers. Maureen, how do I know which business to start? Okay, so you got almost correct, but you missed out on to what do we do with these people? Do we carry forward to next week?
No, just so gift them.
To who? No one got it correct.
It's the first one who got close.
Who, Edna?
Edna, yes.
Edna Abala.
Edna Abala.
Yes.
Where is Edna Abala?
I posted it.
Oh, you're the one who he actually didn't also get it right. And employers unmasked was the second one. We started with how to register a business legally. I even said it when we were starting. Edna Pole. All right, I think we shall carry this forward to next week. This gift was gonna go to Shishi Naturals. They were going to get you a gift hamper. They sell natural oils for your skin and hair. I actually use their products and they're very, very, very good. So Gerald Jogona is saying what? Okay, he's doing a summary of today's webinar. Thank you very much, our audience. If you want interview coaching, please get in touch with me. We are going to get you 3 hours with one Jane Mutisia. If you want to know what Jane Mutisia can do, please visit our YouTube channel. She's the one who tackled Employers Unmasked. What do employers want from employees? And for you, our audience, I think Shishi Naturals, you're lucky. Your name will carry on for next week. Please join us next Tuesday when we shall be discussing financial planning, both for businesses and for individuals. You cannot miss it. And it will be a public holiday, so you have no excuse. Thank you very much, Tom. You are an excellent, excellent work. Thank you for joining us. We are totally enlightened. And we have, thank you, Zalego Academy, for your partnership. Our IT partners, you really do an excellent job. And don't forget, they have a November intake. Please visit their website, Zalego Academy, or social media pages for your IT solutions. Thank you, Serenity Studios. If you have noticed the flyer this week, my picture is different. Yes. Special appreciation to Simon Wachira, man. I do not know what I would do without you. And Alex Mwangi, you guys are awesome. Thank you very much, our audience, for tuning in tonight. It's always a pleasure. We wouldn't be doing this without you. Do not forget to tune in to Pearl Radio 96.9 FM. Again, Pearl Radio 96.9 FM in Nairobi. My name is Grace Nzula. I'm a trainer and HR consultant with Atara Solutions, and I have been your host. Please like us on our Facebook page, Atara Solutions. Follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Atara Solutions. See you next week. Same time, same place, as we look at financial planning. Again, I promised we are going to have giveaways. So Shishi Naturals, we carry on to next week. Mao, what are you offering?
Mao West.
What are you offering? We shall have that conversation.
For your next webinar.
Absolutely. Yes. So our people, if you need interview coaching, please get in touch with me. We are going to award you that. Antonio Corey, please reach out to me for your LinkedIn profile and personal profile upgrade. And then another question for next week, for a chance to walk away with Shishi Naturals product. Please, you can check out our YouTube. I can promise you our questions will be around the same webinars, just to give you a leakage. Thank you very much, Tom, and everyone. It's a good night from us, and see you next Tuesday, same time, same place.
Thank you, Grace. Good night.